Evening, neighbor.
Good evening.
How was your trip back to your old campus? I missed you this afternoon, so I remembered it was today. You must have been welcomed back, I bet. Were you treated like a former conqueror?
Well, I will admit to you, I was actually less noticeable than the conquered during those undergraduate years of mine.
That can't be true. I'm sure you'd make yourself heard, even if numbered among those who are not supposed to be. If told to listen, you talk. And if told to talk, you talk about things no one would ever want to hear. You'd never, I think, let anyone tell you otherwise, no matter the age or time. Was your trip back actually that bad?
Not at all. It was nice to see things I hadn't for so long, and I had the chance to see those I didn't think I'd ever see again. There was, I suppose, one part of my visit back that was not perfect, however.
What do you mean?
There was a large installation in the middle of campus that confused me, and I couldn't figure out what it meant. I stared at it for almost an hour, and I walked around to all its sides, but I couldn't find a view of its meaning. It was a large mass of broken ski poles that were glued together up into the sky, but they didn't appear to take the shape of anything. I looked at how the poles were glued too, but they didn't seem to have a uniformity or any skillful skirting of it. I don't like to feel stupid, so I kept.
If you don't like to feel stupid, you shouldn't so often court stupidity. Anyone would be able to tell you were looking at an art installation. I don't even have to see it to know, and you should, actually.
How do you know whether the thing was art?
Because it's obvious. Art installations are put up on campuses all the time, which is something everyone knows.
Well, how do you know whether it was art?
What do you mean?
I mean, you don't know what it was supposed to be, so how do you know what it is? In fact, I was there, and still.
Why does it have to be something to be art? Not everything has to have a meaning, including art, which is something everyone knows. Art, after all, happens all the time, and you can see it everywhere. Every single time a person expresses himself, art gets made, and I should not have to be.
Self-expression isn't art, and that's why they're different words. One can, after all, express oneself without creating art in the same way one can create art that has an expression beyond oneself. It's also important to remember that art must have some criteria for its definition, since we already have a word for everything, which is, after all, everything.
You aren't making any sense at all, and it's on purpose, I bet. I know all you want to do is make it seem like art can only be the things you approve of, which is always the reason whenever someone attacks art. Everyone knows art can be anything, and that it happens every day, and everyone also knows.
The truth is that if no wrong's involved, no art can be. Take, for example, the art installation I saw on campus, since if it was instead a monument of self-expression, then
I'm not going to listen to any more of this. It's obvious you're wrong, and this is not what I need to be hearing anyway. I will, I think, see.
The last thing I want to say is that nothing ventured means nothing can be attained. And art, in fact, far more often features the expression of others than it does oneself. To shape to nothing is to sink below evaluation. And if you can't see how a thing escaped error, you shouldn't see it as a question of quality. After all, if a thing couldn't have been bad, how can you ever know whether it's good? If it was not possible to do wrong, why should anyone be impressed by the done right? The potential for incorrectness is a prerequisite for the
I want you to know I haven't been listening to any of what you're saying.